Bella. Is you saying hi, Bean? Okay, hi, Bean. Hi, Bean. Need scritches? You require scritches? It's doing captions. I didn't know it did that. And it even said scritches. Alrighty then. So, what I'm going to do here is build a pedal. Circuit board and all. I will try to see if I can see comments. I don't know if I'll be able to. Oh yeah, okay, I think I can see them on my iPad here. Hi, Bella. I know you're dry and itchy, but I don't want to just scratch you all night. Can you go lay down for me? Go on, sweetheart. Okay, so yep, I think we're good to go. So yeah, what I'm gonna do here is build a pedal, like circuit board and all, and try to deal with the dog barking in the background because I'm talking. So by the time we're done here, we're gonna start with this, and by the time we're done, we're gonna have a pedal. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I guess we'll figure that out. But yeah, so let's kick it off. I'm building Strange Mercies, and I've got 4 out of the 5 done so far. And the first thing that goes in is a reverse polarity protection diode. And that is so if you plug in a center positive power supply by accident, you'll blow up this diode rather than blowing up your whole pedal. Bella, go lay down. And when I'm working on these tiny little circuit boards, I tend to solder on the back of my little squeezers here. Ooh, my tip is a little nasty. Let's clean that up, bro. There were a couple people here. I guess they didn't want to watch me build a pedal. I don't blame you. But yeah, this is what we're gonna do. And this video will be left up, so I'm gonna keep talking even though there's nobody here. So next up is a filter capacitor. And that just takes some of the ripple out of our power supply. Makes the pedal a little quieter, a little cleaner sounding. And I'm sorry if you guys can't see a lot. It is kind of hard to know what I'm doing while I'm or see what I'm doing rather while I'm working with such tiny things, but get our capacitor in there and we'll get that soldered in. This is just Vero board. This is how I build all of the pedals that I've been building. It's on Vero. It's basically just a bunch of connected copper strips, and you cut them to break up parts in the circuit. And then we will pretty this up a tiny bit real quick, which I like to do. Alright, there is our power supply. And the first thing that goes in is a 1 meg strapping resistor, and that is a pull down resistor. That is so when you click on your foot switch on your pedal, you don't hear a loud pop. That's what this resistor does. And that just goes from our input to ground. I try to get things lined up as nicely as I can. It's not really easy with giant banana hands working on a tiny little circuit board, but I still try to do the best I can. Alright, got our pull down resistor in. Now I'm going to clip some legs real quick, just so they're not bothering me as I move on to the actual circuit part of the circuit. But yeah, this is our input section basically. A reverse polarity protection diode, a filter capacitor to smooth out the ripple on the power supply, and then there is a 1 meg pull down resistor to ground to keep the pedal from popping, making pops, which we know like. Alright, now we can start building the actual circuit. Now we have an input capacitor. It should go just like that. Bend our legs out a little bit and solder it in. You kind of have to have like a decent soldering iron to work with Vero, trust me. I tried before many years ago with like Radio Shack soldering iron, and it was not cutting the mustard. Alright, there is our input cap soldered in. And now we are going to start building our first gain stage. And I need to move things out of my way. Bend this resistor over, and then I am going to get some insulation to throw on it. I just use cut off wires for that, And then I'll cut a little bit of insulation to approximately the length I need. And we will slip it over the resistor. I know my giant banana hands do not let you see much of what I'm doing. I apologize. But there is our insulated resistor. And that's going to go right after our input capacitor. Bend the legs on the back and solder her in. I guess the reason I decided to do this was kind of show me how long I actually spend building one of these. This is one of my simpler circuits, so it'll go a lot faster than some of them. Trim those guys. And then now we have a resistor going to the emitter of a transistor. We're going to put that in right next to that other resistor. Hi Bella, I don't want to scratch you right now. Go lay down. Go lay down, sweet pea. Your dad's a little busy. And hopefully I don't completely botch this thing since I'm doing it on camera. All right, there's that. And now we are going to put another resistor off of our collector. That is going to positive 9 volts. That last one I did went to ground. For some reason, these resistors I got are huge compared to some of my other ones. I don't understand it. Different manufacturers, I guess. But it's a little bit of a pain in the arse, to be honest with you. Alright, we'll do that. And we need to grab a transistor. Actually, we'll grab both of the transistors we're going to need right now. And I need to order more of these. All right. So we're going to put our transistor in. About like so. Now we will solder in that transistor and that resistor. A lot of resistors. A lot of resistors going on. Sup, resistor? Try to not, breathe in the poisonous smoke while you're doing this would be a good idea. All right. It's funny, people keep popping in and out. Hello, goodbye. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you stopping in and taking a peek. So there we go. We have our first gain stage is just about built. We have to put our output capacitor on here. And I'm going to use a different size capacitor because it's a little easier to get it in place. And we will solder that in. And I'm going to do the whole build here. Building this circuit, and then I'm going to put the circuit into an enclosure, add all the stuff. So I will be streaming until we have a pedal that makes noise. Alright, and this part here from this green capacitor to this yellow capacitor is our first gain stage. And now we have to separate the first gain stage from the next gain stage. And how you do that with VariBoard is you cut the traces, and it's actually a lot easier to just get a drill bit that's about the size of the trace. And just drill the trace. Keep things kind of on their lowest setting. And I'm not sure if you can see, but there I've basically drilled away the traces. And I also need to drill right after our first capacitor. So let's do that now. There we go. 3 little drill spots. And that separates parts of the circuit. There's going to be some wires here. I'm not putting them in right now because it's easier for me to just do all the wires at once. And looking at my schematic, I also need to drill right after this capacitor. So we'll just take care of that real quick. Makes a hella mess, but what are you gonna do? Alright, so now we are going to put in a resistor that's going to limit the value of our fuzz pot. So the reason you would do that is if you don't do this, your fuzz pot will go all the way to 0, and that's just kind of weird. It makes most of the travel of the pot unusable, and like kind of like why bother to even have it there. Gonna cut a little piece of insulation for this. Anytime I bend a resistor over like this, I've started putting insulation on it just to ease my mind a little bit. But yeah, if you put a resistor in, if you take your potentiometer and you find out where the lowest value of that potentiometer is that you think is usable, and then you measure the potentiometer and figure out that value, you can put a resistor in that is close to that value, and what that will do is limit the lower portion of your pot, your potentiometer, so you can control how low the gain goes. I believe you can do it the other way too. I have not tried that yet, so I don't know if I'm lying to you, but I think you can. I just haven't had a purpose for it yet. I always want stuff to be louder, not quieter. So we'll go ahead and solder this in. And then we'll trim the legs. And now we have our little potentiometer limiting resistor in place. And now we will start building the second gain stage, which I need to look at on my schematic and find all the values of. So there is going to be one resistor to positive 9 volts and one that will go to ground. Not right now, Bella. Go lay down. Go on. I don't want to scratch you. And then we will have one resistor that goes to ground, one that goes to positive, one that goes to negative, and that is a voltage divider which allows the transistor to function. If you don't lower the voltage a bit to a transistor, it will not function, it will not work. So having one resistor going to 9 volt positive and one resistor going to ground limits the voltage going to your transistor. That's what that is. That's all that is. Couple people watching. Hello, hello. Thank you for stopping in and watching me build a pedal. Again, I'm going the whole way here. I am starting from scratch and building a circuit, and then I am going to put the components into a pedal enclosure and assemble the whole thing. And by the time I am done here, we will have a pedal that we can rock. And I am building my Strange Mercy pedal. That's the first thing I decided to build after the punk rock flea market because I sold out of those. So that to me means people probably like that one, which was really cool. I love just seeing people play it. Like when you make something like this, just having another musician play it is really fun to watch. Just like, hey, what do you think of this? I think it's pretty cool. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it. But what do you think? Looks like we're at about 25 minutes here. That's cool. That's another thing. I really just kind of want to know how long it takes to do this. I don't really pay attention. I kind of lose track of time when I'm sitting here doing this stuff. I will like forget to eat, and I'm kind of a big dude, so when a fat man forgets to eat, you know he's enjoying himself. Okay, so now I am putting in a resistor to the collector and a resistor to the emitter of my second gain stage. One's going to positive 9 volt and one is going to ground. And we'll just solder those in. Forgive my messy table. Oh, you need a little more than that, sir. If anyone has any questions or anything, you can feel free to ask in chat. I do have my iPad right here, so I can see you. Or sit and lurk quietly. That's cool too. I'm down with that. I'm more of a lurker myself. But I am happy to answer your questions if you have them. All right. Now we're going to toss in our second transistor. It's basically like this is controlling the gain and this one is controlling the output volume. And I like my pedals loud. Bruh. I like to make them loud. Alright. Truthfully, I normally will build the circuits on something a lot larger. It makes it a little easier to work. I kind of just use this tape roll and work like this. And then when I'm done, I will take the circuit outside and cut it to size. But since I'm doing this live and I want to put it in a pedal at the end, I don't want to be like, hold on guys, I gotta go out and use my bandsaw. So I pre-made the circuit to the proper size. Alright, so there's most of our second gain stage, and we actually only have one component left. And then we're going to start attaching our connection wires to get ready to put it into an enclosure. So I'm trying to decide which way I'm going to go here. Am I going to go downward with this and put it there? No, I think I'm going to use a larger capacitor. Excuse me. And go upwards with it. But yeah, man, this is what I have to do for every single one of these. And it's pretty fun, I enjoy it. It's not like a daunting task. It's a little finicky sometimes. And we'll trim our legs right quick. And then do I have all my cuts? No, I do not. I need a cut after this guy. So again, I just use a drill to make my cuts and my traces. And then I needed a cut. Did I already do that one? I did. I think that's it for my cuts. And I think I probably could have got away without that one because my capacitor's not going up there. Yeah, I probably could have. Oh well. And that is the completed circuit board. Now I just have to add the wires, which will allow me to connect it to the components inside the pedal. So that can be a bit finicky too. So I'm going to start cutting some wires here. I just have my wires all kind of on a spool over here. And I actually measure them by using my, I have like a parts bin right here, and I kind of go, okay, this many things down is approximately how long my wire needs to be. And it makes it pretty consistent normally. So I need to cut, what? I need 5 ground wires. There's 3. And I'm officially out of black wire, so 4. And then we will use, let's do green for extra ground since I ran out of black wires. Oh, you know what? I actually have a giant box of wires. And I bet I have a pretty good one right about there. So we can use a black wire. And we will use the green wire that I just cut for our input. I probably should have gone through this first. And then we will use a blue wire to go to our pot. We will use a white wire to go to our pot. Then we will need a yellow wire for our output. So now what I do is kind of just start straightening and trimming, like stripping the ends of all the wires so they're ready to go, so that I can just solder away and not even think about it. 5 people in here now, nice. So if you guys are just joining, what I'm doing is building a pedal from scratch. I have already completed the circuit board, except for I need to add the attachment wires to it, more or less. And then once I have those on, I will be putting components in an enclosure and putting the circuit in the enclosure. And by the time we're done, we should have a working pedal. Man, like, people immediately left when I explained it. They're like, boring, snooze fest, old man shit. Why are you doing old guy shit? Just an old guy in training. Another person left, probably because they said the S word. Sorry. I said another S word. I said sorry. Don't be a hater. So yeah, this is kind of one of the most annoying parts of building a pedal, is attaching the wires to the circuit board, because holding them in place while you solder them is a pain in the buttocks. But I have a bit of a solution for that. I don't need this wire to be quite this gigantic. Let's cut that down a little bit. Alright, speaking of my solution, Where is it? There it is. Alright, so this is my workaround for that. It's an alligator clip with a bunch of tape on it. So more or less, I will just grab my wire. We're going to start with this ground. I fold it over, use my alligator clip to hold it, and this soldering gets a little wonky sometimes because I'm trying to work on this tiny little board, so I just set it on the table at this point. And then I solder that wire in place. And we move on to the next one, which is our input. We're going to use green for our input. That goes to that pull down resistor I was talking about earlier that keeps the pedal from popping when you step on the switch. Get our pull down resistor in. You might be wondering why I didn't do this on the Black Rabbit page. That is because on the Black Rabbit page, I currently have, like, you know, I don't know, less than 100 followers. And on here I have, like, you know, 1,000 Facebook friends. So hopefully more people can see it this way. And I am saving the video to my camera as well, so I can upload it to the Black Rabbit page later. And that is our positive 9-volt wire. So just like that, we have our input section all soldered up, and now we're going to move on to the wires that go to the potentiometer, and that is going to be a blue, which right now is a wee bit gigantor. Let's trim that down a little bit. And this blue goes to the output of our first gain stage. And this is one of those spots where it's really finicky, so I'm working in between stuff. Alright. We will solder that in. Then we have a white wire that's going to go to the input of our output stage. Blah, blah, blah. All right. That guy is mighty difficult to see. That should do it. All right, those two wires are going to go to our fuzz pot, and now we are going to wire up all of our grounds and our output stage. So this is going to be a bit of a bear. I like to try to just do all of these at once. just because when you heat up one, you will end up kind of heating up all of them, and they can get loosey-goosey. So if you have a bunch of them right next to each other, it's kind of better to just try and solder them all at one time, which is what I'm doing here. This one I might have to monkey with a little bit. There we go. That'll work. Come on. There we go. Sometimes your solder will try to bridge between the two. Hey Dale, what's up, buddy? Sorry I didn't message you back, Dale. I actually got that EGR valve put on my truck, and truck is still being a piece of crap. So I appreciate your help, no less, my friend, but that truck turns out is just a piece of crap. Gotta love it. I hate cars. Alright, so now we are going to do our output wire. And that attaches to the capacitor on our output stage. We will hold that guy in place. And get her soldered in. All right. We got 2 wires left, and then we're done with the most annoying part of the whole thing. So we have this red wire, which is going to go down here to 9 volt, and eventually this will lead to the LED indicator on the pedal. I've already soldered in the ground that will go to the switch for the LED, but we need some juice as well. Also, I don't trim any of these until I'm done soldering them. Unlike the components, I kind of want to leave the wires to cool down a little bit longer. I don't know if that's just in my head, but it seems like a good idea. And we have one more wire left, and that's going to go to this resistor that I talked about earlier, which is for setting the lower limit of our potentiometer. And my hand is shaking like a leaf on a tree. I'm not that caffeinated right now. Why do I have the shakies? I'm not scared of you guys, I promise. So yeah, just one wire left to solder. And then we're going to do a little fun side quest. Okay. We are back. I apologize to those of you that were watching. Apparently, I am recording this on a GoPro, and apparently if you save the video to your card, it will only let you go to 45 minutes. So, there we go. Now I'm back to where I can see live chat and all that. So yeah, apparently I reached 45 minutes, and that was that. So right back to where we were. We are soldering in the very last wire. I apologize to those of you who were watching and lost the stream. Had a couple of you in there too. Geez Louise, pepper cheese. All right. Now we are going to trim all of these up. Alright. Hey, you guys found me again. I see two of you. Welcome back. Sorry. Apparently my GoPro will only let you both live stream and record the video for 45 minutes. So I reached 45 minutes and the stream died. So apologies. I did not know that. I guess I have never streamed for 45 minutes using my GoPro. So we got the last wire soldered in, and now, believe it or not, what I like to do at this point is test it. If you put it into a pedal untested, you're a dummy. So I'd rather not be a dummy. And so what I do here is get out my little breadboard and I just set up a little circuit test, more or less. Once we test it, we can start actually putting it in the pedal. But first things first, we're going to test it. We're going to make sure that this little bugger doesn't puke on us. I want to know it works before I solder it into the box, which takes a long time. So we are going to set up a quick little testy here. Ooh, man, I got that pot just mangled. Get in there, buddy. All right. You guys get to see my ultra rad test setup. This is also what I use to design pedals. Basically, build them on this thing temporarily, make sure that the circuit is functional. So I just got to plug all this in, and this just allows me to plug a guitar into this and power into this, and then plug it into an amplifier and see how we did. I don't know if it looks confusing, but it's really not. It's not too bad. Just have another cable here, which maybe I will tuck under that. And then we need some power. So let me grab some juice. And of course, you don't want to fit into any of the slots I have available. Thank you. All right. That, my friends, is the sound of not grounding out your volume pot. I can tell you right now, the circuit's working. But we need to test it a little more than that. All right. So we'll grab our fiddle here. Everything is functional. So we can move along to the next phase. Go ahead and unplug all this from my breadboard here. And we don't need those any longer. Okay. So here's where we are at. I'm actually going to quickly just get some of this detritus out of the way. So this is the second run of the Strange Mercy, which is what we've been building. I did these in kind of a sort of distressed, I guess, gold and black with a little tiny bit of silver sparkle. I don't know if you guys can see that. I think they came out pretty cool. So now let's build this thing. It died again. That time after only 8 minutes. So, looks like we are back up and running. I apologize, and if I lose the stream again, I will once again try to come back and stream again. Hello, how are you? I know you're dry and itchy. We'll get you some new food. It's making you itchy, either that or it's new detergent. I don't know, but I love you. I love you. I'm sorry I keep doing things and not paying attention to you. It must be horrible. It must be terrible. You're so grubby. You're so grubby you need a bath. You need a bath, but your dad's lazy. You need a bath. Okay. I love you. Go lay down. All right. Okay, dog attended to. She is a princess, and she does need affection. That's all there is to it. All right. So typically, I'll throw this thing down on this soft white towel so I don't scratch it all up when I'm building it. Now we just need to gather all of our components. Starting with triple pole double throw switch. We are going to need an LED. Didn't really want to do red, but I didn't have enough white to do 5 petals, so I guess it's red. I like red. Red's kind of like chill when it comes to petal LEDs. And then we have a B100K and an A100K potentiometer. And we need to grab a couple of nuts and washers for those. In our extensive 3-part series here, apparently. Thank you very much, GoPro, for kicking me off. Again, yeah, if I get booted again for some reason, I will be back. So, bear with me. Alright. Now we need an LED bezel. Little LED bezel. And we need the fun little plastic plug for the LED bezel. Then we need a power jack and a nut for that. Then we need our 1/4-inch in and output jacks. And washers and nuts for those. Grab all that stuff. And that is really all of the components that are going to go in here. You kind of got to put them in a certain way, or else you'll end up in trouble later. I start with the LED bezel because it's in the worst spot and it's the most difficult one for me to do normally, because fitting banana-sized fingers into a tiny little box is not easy. Alright, then we will grab a rocket socket, which these are awesome, and just tighten up our little bezel so that is in place. And then next I like to do the power jack that goes in here. I wish I could get you guys a slightly different angle, but the USB-C cords that come with a GoPro are about 1 foot long, and I needed to keep it plugged in. Alright, get our power jack in and get that tightened up. I think no, it's a different rocket socket. It is not that one, I can assure you. Where are you? Where are you? Sorry. Had to. Oh, God. This is what happens when you decide to live stream and your desk is a disaster. There it is. Got it. No, that's not it either. Is it? That is it. That's the right one. Okay, I'm just dumb. I need to label them in some way. Okay, there is our power connection for our pedal. And now we are going to put in our potentiometers. I use an A100K, which is a audio taper pot for the fuzz control on these. The reason is because I want you to be a little more accurate with your fuzz knob to get it more how you like it. And linear taper pots do not allow you to be very accurate. So I use Audio Taper for my gain controls. Alright, and there is our fuzz pot all installed. Now we will throw in our volume pot, which is linear, because I want the pedal to be loud right away. I want you to turn up the volume and go, damn, that pedal's loud, son. All right, now our volume pot is installed. And now we will do our triple pull double throw switch. We're going to move our LED out of the way. Just pull that washer up and put a lock washer on it, or a tooth washer, and then a dress washer, and then the nut. Which seems to hate me. Could you just go on? Stop being a jerk face. Alright, so we get our dress washer on, grab a rocket socket, tighten our switch up, try to make sure it's pretty straight inside. Got to loosen it a little. There we go. All right. There's our switch, LED bezel, 2 pots, power jack. All that's left is our input and output jacks. These I kind of temporarily install, so they do not get tightened until everything that's going to be soldered to them is soldered. All right, so those guys are in there temporarily. And now we can start wiring this thing up. So I like to use yellow wire on my outputs. So I'm going to cut a yellow wire. Yes, I'd already cut a bunch of wires, but those were for the ones that went to the circuit board. All of these wires are for the inside of the pedal itself. And I take a little time to try to straighten the wires up. I am not the neatest in the world at wiring, but I do try to do the best I can. You know, I will get better with time doing this stuff, but that doesn't mean I can't try to do my best right now. We'll go ahead and solder this to our output jack. That's good. And then I like green on my input jacks, so we'll grab some green wire. Straighten that out. Try to keep it tidy, bro. green wire to our input jack. Hey, Kimmer. And I got hair on there from petting my dog. Alright, so now we can turn this guy upside down and tighten it up because I will not need to get to that wire again. And same for this guy. I will need to get to this again, but not to that wire. We'll tighten those up. And we're going to trim the little excess. Hi, Bella. How are you? I realize you want my attention and scratches, but I'm a little busy right now. I love you. I love you. Go lay down now. She'll be back. She's like the Terminator, bro, when she wants scritches. She's very dry right now. I don't know if it's her food or I switched laundry detergent, but something is making her an itchy girl. No, she does not have fleas. She's just an itchy girl. So I don't know if it's a food allergy, a food allergy, or a laundry detergent allergy. All right, strip that. And then this wire is going to come over here, and that's about the right length. So now we can get those soldered up. This one goes here. And yes, this is a pain. This is super finicky business. I'm sorry that you can't see what I'm doing sometimes, but I kinda need both hands. And I'm not breaking out the big camera, just using the GoPro. Alright, so those are in place. Now we're gonna solder them. Clean my soldering iron real quick here. These switches are delicate. They're very easy to cook them, so you don't want to be on these tabs very long. You need to be on there just long enough to melt the solder. If not, you see the red stuff that's kind of like holding the terminals in. You can melt that so quickly. So you have to be kind of quick about it. Trim those up. And now what we'll do is take this little shred of wire that we had earlier from stealing its insulation, and we put that through these two guys. And this, if you are a guitar player and you've heard the term true bypass, this is it. Basically, this is what makes your pedal true bypass, is when your pedal is off, it's going through these two terminals. And there's different ways you can wire this. This is the way that it was showed on the Beavis Audio site, which I am a big fan of. I have learned a lot of stuff from that site, and I think dozens, if not hundreds, if not maybe thousands of people have also learned a lot from that site. I just saw a wire I did not trim on here, so let's do that right now when I see it. So yeah, I do this method because, you know, Beavis Audio. Alright, we can kind of pretty this wire up a little bit. push it down and out of our way. This one I don't do that to yet because I need to solder to both of these terminals. But ostensibly, this right here is the absolute basics of wiring up a box to put a circuit in. You have a wire from the switch to your input and a wire from the switch to your output. And then you have this jumper that is making this pedal true bypass. All right, now it is time to get our circuit going in here. So the way that I isolate my circuits, you do not want that touching that. That's a bad thing. Pedal no work if you do that. Let me just do a little more grooming here. Some of these are a little pokey. There we go, that's good. You do not want that touching the enclosure. So my simple solution for this is sticky back foam. And it works really well. I just put my circuit board on here, trace around it, and then we are ready to cut out our insulation. And we just cut this out. Like so. Peel the back. This is another reason why you really want to test the circuit first, and why I went through testing the circuit, is because once you put this foam on, it does not want to come back off. If you mess this foam up and you need to peel it off, you are going to be spending some time with rubbing alcohol and a brass brush trying to get that off. So now the bottom of our circuit board is insulated and ostensibly is ready to go into the pedal. So what I do is I make kind of all my bends and things sort of first. So right now I'm just kind of getting stuff out of the way that I don't need to put bends in right now. So I will need, dang, those black wires got tangled, bro. Come undone, friends. Duran Duran it. Alright, so I need that one and that one. And yeah, this can be a little confusing, which is why I color code things. Alright, so this black wire is going to get bent this way and this way, and this white wire is going to do the same. I know these bends are going to be there, so I'm kind of like pre-making them before I trim these wires. Same with this blue wire. It's going to come over here, get bent this way, and it's going to get bent that way. You can kind of see what I'm doing there. Then I pop my circuit board back in here and trim off excess. I know I'm going to want my circuit board to end up about there. Now I can just trim off those and they'll be ready to go. Then this potentiometer is going to get this ground wire, and this is our output wire. That's gonna go over here. Again, I realize this isn't the best view in the world, dudes and lady dudes. I'm doing my best. Alright, then this green input wire is going to be roughly that long. So we'll nip that right about there. And then we can do the connections to our power. That's going to be about that long. And that one's going to be about that long. Close to, anyway. And then we have a ground that is going to go this away, curl around and come up to our input jack. That's going to be about that long. Then we have this guy, which is going to come around here and go to the switch. And he's going to need to be about that long. All right. All of our wires are relatively trimmed. Now we can strip the ends of them. And then we will bend them all a little prettier before they go in place permanently. But it's a lot darn easier to strip them all outside of the enclosure. How do I know this? You probably don't have to ask. These two little guys, which are kind of difficult to do with this type of wire stripper. It's not impossible. And then we need to strip these three guys. Hopefully I'm not boring your pants off. I do see people coming in and leaving, so I'm sure it bores some of your pants off. Aren't you happy? I got you to take your pants off. You're probably way more comfortable now. It's dinner time. It's probably after dinner time. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. It's after dinner time. Who needs pants? Yeah, that one went forward. And that one went backwards. All right. We are ready to start assembling this sucker. Try to see where I'm at here. Yeah, I wish you guys had a better view. I will see if I can figure out how to do this with my DSLR and like a macro lens. I'm not so sure on that right now because I'm not typically a live streaming type of dude. I'm a film a video and then upload it type of dude, typically. Alright, now we can solder these 3 wires to this pot. Much like so. And then we will get these guys going. And those are in, so we can get those soldered. Bella, get down, please. Yowza. That was toasty. There we go. That wire was being a jerk. Come on, would you get where you belong, sir? My God. There we go. They're usually not that jerky. It must be because I'm filming. Get this guy out of the way so I don't melt it. I do not like melting wires. I need to find Teflon coated wire that is of a size I like to work with. All right. Both of our potentiometers are now wired up. Now I think I'm going to go ahead and get this. No, we won't mess with that yet. Let's do the power, because that's going to be a little more in the way. So get our negative over there. And our positive over here. And we can get those soldered in. And I am almost out of solder on this reel. I have another one, so we will definitely be able to complete this, which this is probably enough solder to complete it anyway. Right. Now our power and ground wires are soldered in to our power jack. Now we can wire input from the circuit board to our foot switch. Again, you do not want to hang out on those terminals very long because you will melt them. Faux show. That's for show. Clean that up. Make it look a little nicer. Alright, so that was the input wire from our circuit board going to this terminal. That's why I left this wire kind of not, I didn't pretty it up because it all kinds of gets in your way of soldering to that terminal. So now that I'm done soldering to that terminal, I can also tuck that wire back and make it look a little bit nicer. Alright, so now we will solder our grounds to our jacks. Let's do that next. Again, this can be finicky. Pull that guy through. Now he's attached, and I'm going to make a jumper to go from the input to the output jack. I need it to be, let's say, that long. I'll just strip that really quick. And we're going to tuck this in with this other ground on the input jack, which can be a pain in the butt too. Trying to fit 2 wires through these absolutely minuscule holes. But we got it. Then we'll bring it over, put it in this other jack, bend it a little so it stays in place, and now we have our ground from our circuit board going to our input jack, and then the ground from the input jack is continuing to the output jack. Now what you don't ever want to do is then take this back somewhere else, because then you will have a ground loop and your pedal will be hella noisy. So we'll get these soldered in. Which this is a little bit of a pain again. But a little patience will get you there. Then we will nip off the excess. All right, we only have a couple more connections to go, guys, and we will actually have a functioning pedal here. So now what I'm going to do is run a ground wire to the foot switch. 3/4 of the way through the video, I'm starting to think, oh yeah, I should turn this towards you. And then maybe, possibly, you might be able to somewhat see what I'm doing. Alright, so we got our ground connected to the foot switch. And we will solder that in place. And then we'll trim off the excess. All right, now we need another yellow wire that is going to go from our volume pot to our foot switch. solder that to our pot. And while I'm down here, let's go ahead and trim all the excess on these pots. Did not do that earlier. Make sure you don't leave any little janglers in there. So now we have this yellow wire that's going to our volume pot, and that is going to run around here and go to the output side of our foot switch. So we'll trim that a little bit. Strip that. I liked how that was tucked behind the ground, so I'm going to do that again. If it's going to let me. There we go. That goes over here to this side of the foot switch. Somebody's messaging me. I can't answer you right now, messenger person. I apologize. I'm a wee bit busy. Let's see. Can I answer a messenger without losing this video? I do not want to chance it. We have been going on this stream for 40 minutes and it crapped out at 45 once before. So whoever just messaged me, I'm really, really sorry. I'm a little busy at the moment. But we're getting there. We are, believe it or not, we're nearly done. All right. So this wire kind of gets randomly stripped inside of the pedal. I could go a little lower than that. Yeah. And this is the wire that provides power to our LED, which is where we are at in the process. Let's see here. We need our LED. And the first thing we're going to do is run our LED through this little plastic plug. That's what keeps it inside the bezel. And then we're going to bend these down. The long leg of our LED goes to 9 volt. So we're going to wrap that red wire we just trimmed to our LED and solder it. And my chunk of solder disappeared. There it is. Go ahead and solder that. All right. We're getting near the end. Now we need a resistor soldered to the other side, the negative side of our LED. Otherwise, when we plug it in, it will smoke our LED, and LED shall be no more. Do not want to do that, so we want to add a resistor. Like I said, it gets tied straight on, and we just solder it, and then our LED can go into the LED bezel. I said our LED can go into the LED bezel. Now do what I told you. That's just being a jerk. Get over there. There we go. Alright, and now I keep these terrible wire strippers around simply to press that in. And now we can trim the excess off of these. We do not need all this garbage on here. Alright, and then our very last step of wiring is to run this resistor to our foot switch into this terminal here. Kind of pull it in a bit. There you can see. Pull that over. Bend it up. Solder it in. We will trim that. All right. So what we've done today, we completely assembled this circuit board, and then we put all of our components into this pedal enclosure, and then we have went ahead and connected all of this stuff together, and now essentially we are ready to plug this pedal in and rock it. But it does need some knobs. Alright, now I am severely lacking in knobs right now. I need to order some. So I'm gonna temporarily steal the knobs off this pedal, which is the Strange Mercy I already built. But I want you to continue seeing just this pedal. Well. So we're gonna steal the knobs off that and throw them on here so you can see the whole process. Let's see if that will work with my knob setter. This thing is so stinking handy. It's just this little tiny thing that somebody who was tired of an annoying problem made. And what you do is you put it on your pot, and then it gives you an indicator of where to put the line that's on your knob. Then you flip it over for the other side, which is kind of annoying. I actually like to flip the whole thing over just so that the set screw is on top. And you kind of can't see it on this side with these big knobs, but I'm pretty darn close. we will tighten it up. And my friends, that is for the most part it. So let's set that down. And grab a back. All right, got a back and some screws, and somewhere amongst this mess is a Sharpie, and every single pedal I write the name of the pedal, and I write the number of the pedal, which this will be number 10. And then I write the date. It is 10/8/24. Then I sign it like so. And then this one I'll put built on a live stream. Sometimes I'll put a little note in there. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just put this portion. Just depends on how I'm feeling, if I'm feeling cheeky at the moment. So we sign it and date it. We close it up. Now normally, and I will be going back and doing this, I do it in a batch. So this circuit board, for the most part, is not going to move around in here. With the solid core wiring I use, circuit board's going to stay. But I do come back and I put hot glue around the circuit board to make sure it doesn't move. I put hot glue on the back of the LED to try to keep it from popping out. And then I also put hot glue on the power jack to keep it from twisting if your power supply is a little sticky. So we're not doing that right now, but it will be done before this pedal is sold. But the hot glue gun is a pain in the butt, and it's messy, and it takes a while to heat up. So I do the whole batch at the same time. And that way I can box them up and know what number pedal it was as well. Because usually they sit around in my room for a bit and they get out of order. And I don't remember which is which when I'm boxing them up. So yeah, we will now kind of get some of this junk out of the way, and it's time to test the completed pedal. I can tell you the LED works. Bella, go lay down. Not right now, please. I love you though. So we'll plug this in and crank up an amp. Right now I have a half stack in the background just to test pedals on. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you have true bypass, which means that the pedal plays when it's not on. And then I like to turn the knobs and make sure they're not affecting the pedal. I goofed up on a pedal that I sold to my homie Ty, and I'm really happy it went to a close friend, because when you turned the volume down, it turned down the clean signal, and it ended up being just a little tiny thing that I forgot to clip, and it took about half of a second to fix it. So now every single time I turn these with the pedal off to make sure that nothing's going to go awry. All right. This one gets really compressed with the fuzz turned down. It's funny, they don't all do that. Most of the time when the fuzz is all the way down, it's not very compressed, but you do get variances in parts. So sometimes that's going to happen, sometimes it's not going to happen. That's part of the deal. Can also be the taper of the pot, just is a little bit different, and that's kind of stuff you end up with. That is that. I don't know what the total runtime of the 3 videos was. Let's see if we can figure that out. So we've been going for about an hour on this one. And if we look at our profile on Facebook, we should see the run length of the other 2. Fun. This guy was only 8 minutes, well, 9 minutes, so there's an hour and 9, and this guy was 45 minutes, so basically almost 2 hours to assemble the circuit board and put everything together in total. So that gives you an idea of the time I'm spending on these, and of course that doesn't include painting and labeling the enclosure. That takes time. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, I don't know how much time that takes. God knows it takes days because you have to wait for paint to dry. So yeah, it takes me about 2 hours apparently to build the circuit board and to assemble A Strange Mercy. Some of my pedals are a lot more complicated. This guy right here, for example, This is the new version of the karaoke bar. This is the first prototype. And this guy takes a really long time to build. Can I bust it open real quick? Ooh, did I tighten these screws too tight for a non-full-size screwdriver? Yes, I did. So yeah, all the prototypes, I keep them because I want to be able to look at them if I need to, disassemble and destroy them if I have to. And also, they're the version of the pedal that I get to keep. I don't get the pretty ones, though I do usually take the labels when I get those and label my prototypes. But these are the ones I get to play around with. So yeah, if you look at this circuit board, this one's way more complicated because we have an integrated circuit on it. So it takes a very long time to build that circuit board, probably 2 hours just for the circuit board itself. And then the wiring on this is a bit more complicated because, as you can see, the circuit board's a lot larger. So I'm trying to, in something like this, I'm trying to avoid other components and things of that nature. So yeah, something like this is probably more like 3 hours plus to build. But I think that's it. Nobody's in here right now, but thank you so much to all the people that came through. I appreciate you stopping in and checking out the video. And hopefully I can somehow steal this last one from my Facebook page and upload it to the Black Rabbit page. And here's a grubby little jelly bean. She's been coming in here about every 5 minutes, wanting scritches. Or maybe she needs to go. Do you need to go? Is that your problem, or do you just want scritches? What is it? What is it that you need, princess? What is it that you need? Oh, you just need to give me kisses. I give you the kisses, missus. I give you the kisses. Alright. Say goodbye. You don't want to wave? Bye. Let me figure out how to end this thing. Where'd my app go? There it is. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching.